What's up, guys? It's your boy Jalen here on another episode of Elevated Minds. This one is going to be a pretty touchy subject, but I think it's something that we all need to take into consideration, and because we're trying to become our best selves. So this is definitely going to be beneficial for you in your healing and when you're stepping into becoming your best self. Anyways, if this is your first time on the channel, go ahead and hit that like button. Um, Subscribe, follow me, and without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop into this topic. So today's topic is going to be facing your trauma. Now, everybody has got trauma from their childhood, maybe earlier, teens, preteen. We've all got some type of trauma that's happened to us. Some might be really severe, some might not be so severe, but it seemed very severe at the time because of where you were mentally as a child or an adolescent. And so when we're facing our trauma, what we really need to do is understand that, for one, nobody's perfect. All right, everybody's what stinks. So let's not try and act like we're sitting here and we're perfect, because perfect doesn't exist. Throw that right out the window. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes, and we all have some type of trauma that we need to deal with. And a lot of times it's underlying in your subconscious, and you don't really realize that it's there. And so what I'm going to use for an example is myself, because I want you guys to see, no matter what type of person and how good of a person you are, we all have something underlying that we have to work on, and we have to face it. It's always going to be there. No matter, it doesn't matter how healed you say you are, but if you do not face your trauma from what you've gone through as a child or early early adults, it's going to always be there, and it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your relationships. It's going to affect the way that you see the world for the rest of your life. And so what I'm here to tell you guys is there is a way to, face that, to heal it, and, release it. Because at the end of the day, what we want to do is become our best selves. So we need to learn how to release that. So I'm going to use myself as an example. One of the things I used to have a deep rooted trauma with was I was very people seeking, or not people seeking, but I had an approval seeking behavior for people. And a lot of that I feel like had to do with when I was a child. I love my parents, by the way. I had a great childhood. But when I was a child, my parents were really strict. And growing up in a very strict household, I was supposed to, get really good grades. If I got, a B or whatever, and not an A, B means better try harder to get an A in my, where I, in that house. My dad was always really intelligent and smart, so he did really good in school, and he went and got his master's and stuff. He always got A's and stuff like that. He felt bad if he didn't get 100 and if he got a 94, So, hi, Dad, if you're watching. But yeah, I feel like that really affected me growing into my later adulthood, and so it affected a lot of my relationships, and I didn't really understand that at the time. But I wanted people's approval. And so, because I always wanted my parents' approval for things. I didn't do anything unless my parents approved of it. And, as I got, became a man, I had to learn I'm not going to please my parents in every single thing that I do. I have to please myself. It's my life. It's just like everyone has to do what you want in your own life, because, but anyway, that's a whole other subject. But anyways, I had to face that. That was a trauma. I didn't understand it until I started to see that cycle repeat in different relationships. I would end up with a lot of narcissistic women that, would, really, want, pull that energy from me. And I was always doing things to seek their approval, do all these things for them, be at their beck and call, answer the call every single time they want, come over whenever they wanted me to come over, see them whenever they wanted to see me. Even though I might have been doing something, but I wanted them to be happy, but I wasn't making myself happy first. And so that's something that, that was one of my traumas, and I had to actually stop. And when I realized, okay, I've been in 3-4 different relationships and the same type of thing happens, maybe it's me. Yeah, those people were, doing whatever they did to me. Because I always went in a relationship with good intentions, but I always would end up with that type of woman. And then I started to realize what is going on here. You know, people, I keep getting with people that just take, and I'm giving, trying to like, you know, having them approve of me. Like, am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? And I didn't realize that it came from my childhood, and that was one of the traumas I had to really face and had to, you know, heal. And when I finally, and that's the first step with trauma, is you have to realize it's there. You have to acknowledge that it's there, because trauma, it gets in your subconscious and it just roots in there. It roots in there, and then next thing you know, you could be going years with, you know, this behavior, and you're like, what, you know, you don't even understand quite why you have this behavior. And once you start to understand the you know, the meaning behind it, then you're saying, you know, something kind of flickers in your head. You're like, oh, this is something that I gotta deal with before I even, you know, progress in life. And you know, I even would, it would affect the way I was at work. You know, like I would let jobs treat me any type of way because, you know, and I always be at work even though, you know, I'd be sick and stuff like that. And I just really just try to make sure that I'm approved of by the boss or the managers or the CEO or whatever. But I had to realize that my own validation comes from within. And so that was one of my traumas I had to release. And when I released it, I tell you, it flipped everything. Everything flipped upside down. Every single aspect of my life changed for the better. And I healed that. And self-healing is definitely possible. A lot of people, you know, you can seek help through therapy. And if you guys are scared about that, there's actually something called BetterHelp. It's like an online counseling service for therapists, and they'll have you fill stuff out, and then they'll hook you up with a licensed therapist from your phone, from your home computer, and you can do that. So just wanted to throw that out there. I want to give you guys resources. But yeah, so there's different ways that you can heal yourself, but you can also get outside help as well. Like I said, you guys have to, you know, look at your patterns. One trauma, you know, that people can have, it might be criticism. When someone tries to, you know, give you criticism, healthy criticism, constructive criticism, you might find yourself getting really defensive, or, you know, not receiving it, shutting down immediately. That's a problem. And that was me too. I had a problem with criticism. I didn't like people to give me pointers or, you know, give me advice. And I mean, now I'll take criticism. I'll take criticism on my videos, you know, that I'm doing right now. So it's like, you know, but I used to close off. I just close off and I'd shut down, and, you know, and that was another type of trauma I had to deal with. It was, you know, also from, you know, self-worth as a child or whatever, and wondering if I'm good enough. And then when having someone, you know, tell you about yourself, it makes you feel some type of way because you haven't dealt with that trauma. And so it's really important. It's really important because it will affect the way that your relationships are. It's just really important. So I really encourage you guys today, if you have some type of behavior, and I know you have to have some type of behavior. Everybody does. No one's perfect. If you got some type of behavior where, you know, you might be standoffish when someone says a certain thing to you, or you know, you get angry really easily or triggered by things really easily, look at that. Like, just take a look at it, and, you know, start to meditate. Just take some time out of the day, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes a day, and just think about it. Just ponder on it. Like, why do I react that way? Why is my behavior like this? And it's not a bad thing, you know. It's not a bad thing. It's good, you know. It's not gonna feel like it. It's because you're. This is another video I'm gonna do probably later on, but it's about doing your shadow work. And shadow work, it sounds crazy, but what it is your rejected part, the dark side of yourself that you don't reveal. It's the part where, you know, you don't you know, let out to the world. It's like your more negative emotions, like your stubbornness, your anger, jealousy, these types of things that are in you, but you don't reveal out to the world all the time. It's like your suppressed side. And so when you do your shadow work, you're illuminating light on that and shedding light on it, and then you're really figuring out, where do these emotions come from? And so I know this is kind of like a more touchy subject, but I have to talk about it. because I want you guys to be your best selves. And I think this topic is super important for every single person. You could be 40, 50, 60 years old and still have trauma from when you were a kid. And it's just, I find that it's really important because that's something I had to deal with when I moved to California and kind of got away from my old life. I realized I had to shed a lot of my old self. And when I did that, I really shed light on who I was because I had to really figure out my new identity because I was always identified with Jalen, the nice guy, Jalen, the guy that, was in Titusville, Jalen, the guy that, was the pastor's kid. And I had to, really kind of reinvent myself. And when I did that, I had to realize I had trauma. I saw it. I saw it even more when I moved over here because I'm in a whole new environment. And so I had no choice but to look at it. And once I started to do that, you'll understand that your relationships will change. They'll totally 180. If you got issues with your partner or something like that, they might be, nagging you a lot, or, they're saying that you're like one type of way. Maybe you need to look at something inside of you and, there might be something there. It might not just be your partner. Maybe, it's you. And that's not, like I said, it's not a bad thing, but it's time to start looking within. Or it might be something going on at your work, and you're like, I butt heads with, my boss of this and this and this all the time. And, I can't even, you just get so upset and triggered. Maybe it's something inside of you. It could be them, but I'm saying if you have these negative emotions that keep popping up in certain situations and remanifesting in other ways, you need to take a look at it. I've said that probably multiple times in this video, but I really want to get that in your head, guys. It's super important for you guys to look inside and really just see it for what it is. See it for the truth. Don't sugarcoat. Don't lie to yourself. You can lie to anybody else. Do not lie to yourself. And I don't encourage lying. I do not encourage lying. But do not lie to yourself, man. It's important to take this into consideration. Like I said, I want you guys to be the best that you can be every single day. 365. 2022 is the year where we're gonna change. This is 180. We're not a 360. 360 means you're going back to the same spot. 180. You're turning. It's a turning point. And that's what I want for you guys, because there's just too much joy and abundance and love out here, and we're wasting time being stuck in our old ways, being stuck with our past traumas that's holding us back from really being able to receive what you really want and need in life. Traumas are a blockage. You don't understand that. It's a blockage. If you can let that go, you might try and figure out why do you not get the certain things that you want in life. And a lot of times it's because you might have shed some old things, shed your old self, but until you actually let go of the trauma and heal from the trauma and face it and realize that it is there and it is prominent and it's just hidden, once you can start to acknowledge it, then that's where your healing starts. So I'm not going to prolong this video anymore, but I just wanted you guys to, give you guys some food for thought. And I just want you guys to really take that into consideration. I hope that this video provided you with some value. I hope I helped, provide some insight. And I'm going to be making more videos like this. So once again, hit that like button, subscribe, follow me. And there's going to be a lot more content like this to come, because we got to become our best selves out here, guys. 2020 is the year. All right. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace and stay elevated.